Welcome to episode 185 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary.
Hello.
It is... Things are not good in Florida. Florida is literally burning up. And not just the heat.
Go ahead. I don't really have it. I have nothing on my list that's anything political, so.
I only have the one thing that drove me insane this week, and that is the Florida DOE coming out with the curriculum for middle school students that basically is going to be teaching children that slaves benefited from slavery and that they learned skills that were, quote, could be applied for their personal benefit. It's absolutely insane. And my husband and I were talking about it today, and it's not to say that there maybe were a very small percentage of slaves that managed to get some money together to go up north to try to free people and do that, you know what I mean? But that's not the majority of the situation. And the fact And the other thing that they are twisting is that when they talk about mob violence and violence of whites against blacks, that the slaves were also violent. Like they want to make sure that that's included. And to me, that's insane. It's like they're not reading. And what are we supposed to do? Like I know, and we've said this before, that people like me and you will talk to our kids and hand them a book like, maybe Phyllis Wheatley, maybe Frederick Douglass, who knows. But other families that maybe don't know or don't have access or don't know what are their kids going to learn? And then they're going to go off to college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they're going to walk around the world and this is what they're going to believe.
Or they don't know it's happening in the schools because they're busy.
Yeah.
And
they're working multiple jobs.
That's
or who knows
the case. What. That's what's going to happen. What's going to happen.
Or people who are, are immigrant families who don't know our history. You know what I mean? It to me is, I don't even understand how this is even possible. Of all the things to be focusing on for education, this is what they're doing. He is such a dipshit, and all he wants is that presidency so bad that he will destroy everything in his path to get it.
But who's on this board of education?
I don't know.
Why don't we say those names? Because we can blame DeSantis all day long.
That's true.
But he's got a lot of people, and I mean a lot of elected officials from the state legislature, from his state attorney to his CFO to the agricultural commissioner, to this board of educators, to all the people he's placing in all these in these positions all over the state in these college positions. He's got a lot of people that are doing his dirty work.
Yeah.
So we can blame DeSantis, but I think that if we really humiliate the people who are doing it, that maybe things would change, because this is never going to change. They're doing this for power. They're doing this for money. They should be shamed into never leaving their houses again.
Well, I'm looking quickly at the chair and some members here, and not one of them has any background in education.
Right. Well, what are their names?
It's so the chair is Ben Gibson. He's a partner with Schutz and Brown, Tallahassee. So
probably a lobbying group.
Ryan Petty, vice chair, communications executive, school safety activist. Monisha Brown.
Oh wait, Ryan Petty. His daughter died at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So he's on there. The director of public affairs and government relations for Walmart. Legal assistant to Cord Bird, a radiologist, an executive AT&T, and another politician, Manny Diaz Jr.
And Manny Diaz. Yeah, he's another bond paid for. Who also, by the way, owns charter schools or works for charter schools.
Yes.
So he's actively
and his
everyday job
commissioner.
His everyday job also is he made a living working for charter schools.
Yeah.
That actively work against public schools. So, and it's all sounds like corporate shills.
It's all corporate people. I mean, someone in education, someone with some experience in education.
Why would that make any sense?
On a board? I don't know.
Fucking ridiculous.
Oh my God. I
know.
can't even take it. I can't even fucking take it.
Again, I said this to Tina before we started. I'm already up to here with my own shit, like with my house and my insurance and all that. I can't even. I would love to be upset about this. It's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and that is the first time I've done that since Trump was elected. Because I can't give a fuck about this shit anymore. I can't care about it. I'd love to, but I can't. And I'm like 90% of parents in the state of Florida right now.
Yeah.
Who are struggling and can't, trying to keep a roof over their head, trying to fucking make money to afford to live here, trying to put food on the table, trying to pay my fucking bills because they have taken their eye off the ball purposely so that we can't afford to live here anymore and make it a state where you have nowhere to turn. So am I going to care about slavery being taught to my kids? Absolutely not. I'm not going to fucking care about it. I'm not.
Right.
I can't do it.
But that's
my daughter's going to high school. My son's in a private school. I'm out. Like, I know that sounds crazy, and I should actually care about your children and someone's children down the street. I can't do it. And again, like I said a couple weeks ago, we did all of this. We tried all of it. We were active. We were doing in the community, trying to make change. And this is where we are. Slavery's being banned. What the fuck does activism even do? Tell me what it fucking does, except make that person feel good. Tell me what it fucking does. I'm fucking at a loss because it doesn't do this. It's going to get 1 million abortion petition signed. We reached 500,000 abortions. Get abortion on the ballot and make it legal in the state of Florida in a safe. We've got 500,000 signed. That's humongous. That's activism.
Yeah.
We're going to get to 1 million. It's going to happen.
Right.
But
what happens after?
What the fuck happens when it goes to Tallahassee?
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about that. Nobody is talking about that. Everybody's just like, let's get them all signed. Yes. I'm here for it. It'll go on the ballot. It will pass. What's our plan for when it goes to Tallahassee? Because you can't get all those people on a bus to go to Tallahassee. No one's going to show up in Tallahassee. It's easy to sign a petition and walk away. But how do we get those people to push back when their choice is taken away from them?
Right.
Their choice to make it legal. We're in bad place here. And we can't activate anybody. People are fucking dying out here, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not in a happy mood for the podcast today.
It's okay.
I'm like not in a place to like do this.
It's all right.
I'm so frustrated and annoyed and trying to find things to like be excited about. But the state of Florida ain't one of them. No. It's not. And I know that Senator Pizzo and Senator Book are hosting, like on Facebook, they're going to host these live events that are talking about the insurance crisis, what you can do, resources available. We should all go check that out. I'll look at the dates before I'll say them at the end. But I think that it's really important that Democrats start running and talking about these issues and offering some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, some sort of hope. With this, we got to do something. We have to do something about this. I mean, and really at the end of the day, what are they going to do? Can they force companies to stay? I mean, these are the companies that are leaving. They're leaving for a reason.
I think the state, though, has an obligation
to
have to insure. They have to.
Let's work on Citizens, the insurance company of the state.
And I don't know. I mean, the banks, obviously, they want to protect their investments.
Right.
So that's why you have to have insurance. So if you don't have your mortgage, you could go, okay, well, I'm not going to have insurance and like roll the dice. And because it's probably, I think we talked about it last week, it's probably cheaper in the end to save up for a few years and replace your roof than to be paying into an insurance company that's going to tell you to go fuck off when you go out, try to put in a claim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for people who have mortgages, it's nuts. Between the mortgage and the property insurance and everything, it's just going up and up and up and up. But salaries are staying the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's no growth. And then you have a nutjob governor who is stifling growth because people aren't coming into the state. You know what I mean? Like, our economy, like, I'm just waiting for everything to crash in the state. And then he gets to stay on as governor because we know he's going to tank his stupid election and then we're going to be stuck with him.
Yeah.
Unlike anybody else, they have to resign their seat. and we could have someone else.
Yeah.
But this guy...
No, he's not. You're not taking that seat away from him.
No, because he knows he's going to lose.
I don't think, like, ever. I don't think we're ever getting that seat away from him. I think he's going to be there for, like, a super long time. I'm serious. I think
he's going to try to change the rules?
Yes! Why wouldn't we think that? Why wouldn't we think he'd be like, give me a third term? Unless the legislature's like, I mean, I really don't know how much they actually like him. They're taking a lot of fucking heat right now because of all of the stuff they've done for him. Rightfully so. They should be taking all the heat. A lot of them are hiding and not coming out. But that Speaker Renner, the guy who was the last Speaker of the House in this last session, he wrote a whole op-ed in the newspaper that was one of the most outrageous pieces of writing I've ever seen. About how saying Dems should not be blaming Republicans for the insurance crisis. Who else are we supposed to blame, sir? You've been in charge for 40 years. Yeah, for like 20 years this market's been going down, and under DeSantis it's gone up 200%. 200% people are seeing their policies jump. That is directly under your leadership and his leadership.
The buck stops here, right?
Why? So you want to yell at Democrats for pointing the finger at you? I'm sorry. At what point do we start taking responsibility? You want everybody else to take their responsibility? You want everybody else to pull themselves up from their bootstraps? When the fuck are you going to do that? You have an obligation to the people of the state of Florida. What's the deal? And now we got a governor. He's such a fucking joke. He wants to go sue Bud Light. That's what came out this week.
I know, it's so stupid.
We're gonna sue Bud Light.
Like, let's go waste.
With my money?
It's so old. It's tired. Nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore.
We're at the end of the show and he's trying to pull out dust at this point. Like nothing's happening. God. I read today that less than 1 out of 4 women approve of DeSantis. Less than 1. I was like, what? Less than 1? Less than 1 out of 4. I was like, what is that number?
That makes me happy, though.
I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing, especially when you consider that women they'll outvote everybody else. You know what?
This loser. I have the seminar dates.
Great.
For Lauren Book and Senator Pizzo, and it's a interactive 3-part series. Starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday, July 26th, live on the Facebook page, and that's the Facebook page of the Florida Senate Democratic Caucus. And then the next date, and it's going to be Homeowners Insurance 101, and then Thursday, August 17th at 6 p.m., and then 6 p.m. August 22nd. So insurance crisis, is there an end in sight, is the second one, and your tax dollars at work, state resources. So hopefully maybe within there that there can be some relief, some programs, something.
Yes.
And even maybe like local property appraiser, like we know people down there. Like there has to be a way that we can get more information and find ways to alleviate pressure. Yeah,
I don't want to get on there and hear, oh, well, DeSantis, please stop. Tell me what I can do. Help me. So don't blame. Just like Renner shouldn't be putting at the Democrats. Please, you idiots, get together and figure the fuck out.
Yeah. So
I went to dinner the other night, and this older woman, she's probably, I'm gonna say late 50s, came to the table and she was writing something down. She was like, oh, I read this down. I'm so tired. This is my second job of the day. She gets up at 5 o'clock every morning. She works 2 fucking jobs. Second one is a waitress. And I know that this is a reality for more people than you can imagine. And that's the kind of person who needs the help. That's the kind of person who's not going to know about the slavery.
No.
She's
too busy.
She's working, she's going to bed, she's getting up, she's working just to like keep her head above water. And those are the people that the legislature and the governor are supposed to be working for.
And they're not.
And they don't even try to hide it. There's corporate greed, corporate donations, PAC, building up their PACs, illegally transferring money out of PACs.
Oh,
it's nonsense. It's absolute fucking nonsense. And I don't think it's going to end well for him. He's definitely not going to be nominated at this point. I mean, and no. I think he'll be laughed the fuck out of here.
I can't wait.
He's not going down as one of our best governors. That's for fucking sure. Barbenheimer is this weekend. So by the time this comes out, I definitely would have seen Oppenheimer. I can't to go see Barbie the next day because I am going to see Jinx Monsoon, who is my favorite drag queen of all time. I completely forgot about this.
Is that a bingo? No.
No. Bingo.
Oh, I thought that it was a bingo drag. No.
No. So Jinx Monsoon is a huge drag star. She just was on Broadway in Chicago, and she's my favorite drag queen ever. And so Justin and Nikki are going, our friends Justin and Nikki. And when it was announced that she was coming like 6 months ago, Nikki's like, we need to go. I'm like, yay. And then Justin texted today and he's like, this is Monday. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I completely forgot. So I can't go to Barbie next day, but I am going to see Barbie during the week at some point. But I'm so excited about
It's still Barbenheimer. Give me a break.
Still Barbenheimer.
I've been hearing like so much stuff with Oppenheimer, like a lot of like people coming up angry, and I saw stuff about that there was a school near the area where they, did the Trinity test. Yeah. And that 17 or something out of the 18 girls there like had leukemia.
See, you were asking me that. Remember, you were like, what about happened in the area?
Yeah.
Same thing. And also,
and it's like that's so,
Yeah. You never
know.
And also they show like everything. They show the struggle that he had and how determined he was. He has got to be one of the most fascinating people we've ever talked about on the show.
I'm curious to see the movie.
Yeah.
In 3 months.
Yeah, whenever it comes on, that's how what's his name, Christopher Nolan intended for Tina to watch on her phone. She's running down the road watching Oppenheimer on her phone.
Oh my god.
One of my favorite singers ever died today. Tony Bennett passed away.
Bennett, I know.
I love this. Did your family like Tony Bennett?
My whole family chat was blowing up about Tony Bennett.
Fuck, you can't take it. I love him. I love those big band jazz records. That's got to be one of my favorite genres of music ever.
My son is into the jazz. Like if he's like hanging out at my mom's house and I go over, he's got jazz playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
I fucking love it. But he did albums with Count Basie and they're so fucking good. I'm a huge Tony Bennett fan. And I knew he had like Alzheimer's towards the end of his life, so there was moments that he just wasn't there. I know, that's a really
shame.
Yeah. So sad.
Oh my god. And he was, I think, 96.
In his 90s. Yeah. That's incredible.
And because when I saw like his date of birth, I was like, geez. Like 1926 or something. I was like, my god.
He was an accomplished painter. Like, he would paint and he would sit in Central Park and like paint all day. Like, he was this really talented guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I love his voice. Oh, God.
It's a shame.
The last thing is, I wanted to tell everybody about when I met Tina's parents last week.
Oh my god.
It did not disappoint. First of all, I should have started with this. I would have been in a much better mood. They're adorable. They're adorable.
Oh my god.
They remind me of my parents, where they get to that age and they're just like, they're one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could tell that they know each other for a long time. So at one point it starts raining at the yard sale outside, and Tina goes outside and then she goes, Daddy, tell Hillary stories about when you were younger. I was like, oh. And I got to hear a lot of stories about all the things he would do when he was younger. He told me great jokes. Yeah. I was laughing a lot. And then her mom was adorable and so sweet. And then we had lunch together, which was fantastic. It was so good. And then Tina's dad, I gotta tell you, I find this fascinating. You're like such a part of your family. Like, you have so many, like, the making of the clothes. Your great-grandfather was a tailor. Or your great-grandfather was a tailor.
No, my grandfather.
Your grandfather was a tailor. Like, all of these things, the cooking, all of those things that you do, this is all from your family.
It's crazy.
I
know, the crocheting.
Yes.
All that,
making everything.
The baking.
Yeah.
Making the sauce.
Yeah. At one point, her mom was sitting next to me. She started singing a song, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "This is some crazy shit over here." This is so. And I took an adorable picture. Tina, as a little girl, was one of the most adorable babies I've ever seen. Her eyes were like this big, and she was just these big, beautiful, happy cheeks. Oh my god, Tina!
Little baby Tina.
So cute. Love it. I was very happy.
It was fun. My dad loves you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I did good over here. I think I did.
He already wants her to come to dinner, and
Yeah.
So.
And of course, we got to make sure, what about your cousin? Is your cousin going to be at the dinner?
Oh, he could come.
Yeah, we'll have your cousin come over. It'll be a little reunion of everybody.
Oh my god.
So, I have a good story today.
Oh.
I'm actually pretty proud of it. Pretty happy.
Okay.
So, it starts out kind of sad. So, I saw this, Working Class History, which is a podcast.
Oh, yeah,
it's great.
I love Working Class
Me
History.
too. I follow them on Instagram, and the story had come up this week, and I was like, God, I know I've seen this story before. And it's really sad, and I'll tell you about that in the beginning. And then it really got me interested in the history of where this all started and what does this mean. And so I'm going to cover punk rock versus Nazis.
What? Yes! Let's go!
Let me tell you something.
Let's go!
I had so much fun doing. There, she's singing, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but that was singing.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, never stop. So I had so much fun doing this, and I learned a lot. And we're going to come out of this hating people.
Oh, good.
A certain artist is in particular. We're going to be really angry at.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
so,
shit.
and then this morning, there's a great documentary called White Riot. And it's all about this movement. And so it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know, you can find it somewhere else, but it's like $2 to rent on Amazon. I highly recommend it. It's incredible.
Oh.
So let me start with this very sad story. It's the murder of two young men in Las Vegas in the 90s. And so the first young man's name was Daniel Shersty. He was born in Florida. He lived here for most of his life. And he was a little bit shy, but he was well liked at his school and took part in activities such as school plays and the marching band. His IQ was tested in his junior year of high school, and while his score was in the top 2% for his age, his family's financial situation meant that Shersty was unable to pay for college.
Oh.
So he joins the Air Force, right, to pay for school.
Yeah.
So he moved to Las Vegas to pick up his post at Nellis Air Force Base. And it was here that Shersty befriended Lynn Newborn, a prominent Las Vegas anti-racist activist, and became deeply involved in the area's anti-racist skinhead punk rock scene.
Wow.
I love this. So there is a great article by Linda Edwards for the Orlando Weekly from June 17th, 1999, where I got a lot of this information about the boys. According to Daniel's friends, they said, quote, he didn't hang out on the base a lot. He hung out on the scene in Las Vegas, and he made friends in the local punk skateboard and snowboard community.
I love this, that he's this military dude.
Yeah.
But he's like
partying. Yeah.
Okay.
So many of the people who were also part of the group were known as the Las Vegas United Skins. Now, I always thought skinheads were Nazis. Right. That's actually not, like, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not how skinheads started. Because you think, like,
American History X and stuff
but
like
that's not how skinheads started, which is fascinating to me. All of this is so fucking fascinating to me. Because it's a subculture that I know nothing about. Like the punk rock scene. I mean, I like punk music, but it's never like my scene. So I didn't realize there was all of these different facets and groups of people in the scene, right?
Okay.
So the Las Vegas Unity Skins are anti-racist skinheads who oppose white power skinheads, neo-fascists, and other political racists, particularly if they identify themselves as skinheads. They don't like that.
Okay.
They reclaim the original multicultural identity of the original skinheads hijacked by white power skinheads. So a skinhead or skin... Yeah. So a skinhead or skin is a member of a subculture that originated among working class youths in London in the 1960s, which is where our second part of the story will occur. So it soon spread to other parts of the United Kingdom, with a second working class skinhead movement emerging worldwide in the 1970s. Motivated by social alienation and working class solidarity, skinheads are defined by their close-cropped or shaven heads and working class clothing such as Doc Martens and steel-toe work boots, braces, high-rise and varying lengths of straight-leg jeans, button-down collar shirts, usually slim-fitting in check or plain.
You can see this whole outfit.
Totally.
You see it. You see it. Yeah.
The movement, and also the girls would do skinheads, but how they would do it is they would cut it all really short, except they'd have bangs still, and they'd have like these long sides, and they'd have a little long piece in the back, but the rest of their head was shaved.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looked kind of cool, but anyway, especially if you're like in the punk scene in the 60s in London. Oh my god. So the movement reached a peak at the end of the 1960s, experienced a revival in the 1980s, and since then has endured multiple contexts worldwide. During the early 1980s, political affiliations grew in significance and split the subculture, demarcating the far right and the far left strands, although many skins describe themselves as apolitical. In Great Britain, the skinhead culture became associated in the public eye with membership of groups such as the far-right National Front and British Movement, which are very anti-immigration, and we're going to talk about them.
God.
So by the 1990s, neo-Nazi skinhead movements existed all across Europe and in North America, but were counterbalanced by the presence of groups such as Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice, which sprung up in response. To this day, the skinhead subculture reflects a broad spectrum of political beliefs, even as many continue to embrace it as a largely apolitical working class movement. Okay, so Lynn Newborn, who is this other young man, was a black skinhead.
Oh.
Which is so crazy to still hear.
Yeah.
Like, black skinhead, what are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, he's part of this anti-racist working class culture in the punk
skate
scene.
culture and all that,
Of course. So Newborn spent much of his adult life campaigning against racism. He specialized in deprogramming young and newly recruited Nazi skinheads, convincing them that they could be a part of a greater family that didn't discriminate against religion, ethnic background, or sexual orientation.
Wow.
He taught that love and unity were stronger than hatred.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah. And he's adorable. This picture of this kid, he was so cute. A native of Pomona, California, he lived in Las Vegas, where he was a member of the Las Vegas Unity Skins and sang in the band Counterculture, a Las Vegas punk band, and later in a band called In Life of Lies, which ended around 1996. Okay, so here we go. This is super horrible. So Lynn and Daniel had been lured under pretense of a party and dates by Melissa Hack, and she was the fiance of a Nazi, John Butler, and another unidentified woman on the night of July 3rd, 1998. The women met Lynn Newborn while having a piercing at the tribal body piercing where Newborn worked and where Shersty had been visiting him. So he just happened to be at the tattoo parlor at the same time as women walked in. But they all knew who they were. Like, these Nazis knew who these guys were. Yeah. But they didn't realize these girls were with Nazis.
Oh, no.
After the men accepted the invitation, the women mentioned that the route to the party was difficult and suggested they meet near an exit of U.S. Highway 95 so the two men could follow them. The ambush came after midnight. Nazis on their website said it was right for a race traitor, meaning Shersty, because he was white, to die on Independence Day.
Oh my God.
From the footprints, police believed Lynn was grabbed first. Shersty threw himself forward to protect his friend, and he was badly beaten, but the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the side of his face.
Oh my God.
He died as the killers were dragging Lynn away. On the morning of July 4th, a group of people on ATV rides through the desert spotted a body. Police responded to a call about bodies that had been spotted in the desert and found Shersty's remains. 2 days later, on July 6, 1998, police found Newborn's body about 150 yards from where Shersty had been found. He had been shot repeatedly.
Oh my God.
So 10 days after his body was discovered, police recovered a .32 caliber handgun from murder suspect John Butler that was determined to be one used to kill Shersty, but the gun was not tied to Newborn's murder, so it was a different gun, which they never
so maybe
find.
Someone else did the other.
Probably.
Yeah.
So he was arrested and found guilty, and he was sentenced to death. He was allegedly the leader of a group called the Independent Nazi Skins. After appealing Butler's death sentence, it was vacated, and then he was given 4 life terms without parole by a jury.
So they got rid of the death penalty, but he still stayed in jail. Okay.
The Nevada Supreme Court rejected the appeal of John Butler in February of 2010. He is registered with the Las Vegas Police Department as a gang unit as a white supremacist, and he is currently serving time at the High Desert State Prison in Nevada. His fiance, so they arrested her, that other girl, and another guy.
I mean, they lured him out there. Did they go to jail, the girls?
No, because the other guy was this Melissa's brother. So him and the other girl, they were charged, but they couldn't make anything stick, so they were let go. But she was charged with murder, and she was for her part in it, and Melissa was. And on November 10th, 2004, she was found guilty and given 15 years in a federal prison.
Wow. It took that long?
Yeah, and also... she was like begging, she was telling the judge, I'm so sorry, please don't hate me. And he's like, I don't hate you, I hate this crime, like what you did, what you participated in, what you represent.
Please don't hate me.
Yeah.
You're a jerk.
Girl. So, all of this is terrible. This is awful.
Yeah.
But I saw a black skinhead and I was like, what the hell is going on? What is this? And so I wanted to talk about how punk rock music, which I knew because of there's so many punk rock songs that are anti-fascist, anti-racist, and I'm like, how did this come about in the scene? So I want to talk about that.
Yes,
I think it's
let's
awesome.
Let's do it.
So the movement grew out of the mid-70s in the UK. The National Front political party was far right and fascist as fuck. Their whole motivation was to stop immigration into the UK and to keep it as white as possible, and to actually like round up immigrants and throw them out of the country. The politicians were saying this. And it's very similar to like Brexit and like all of these things that are said today over in the UK.
Well, and over here.
Same, yeah. MAGA, that kind of shit. Yeah. So, Rock Against Racism was founded in 1976 by Red Saunders, Roger Huddle, Joe Refford, Pete Bruno, and they called it Rock Against Racism because it was this political and cultural movement, right? They're going to use music to pull people together and make a statement, right? Because they knew the National Front was trying to go after the youth.
Yeah. Well,
that's who they were going to. They were passing out flyers at schools. They were going, you know what I mean? And so, to the white kids, of course, obviously. And then they were doing the same thing, except to all schools. And so, and there was in the documentary, there was a little black boy at the school and he was reading the flyer and he was like, this sounds great. Like he was so excited about it. Oh my God. It's just such a good documentary. So between 1976 and 1982, Rock Against Racism activists organized national carnivals and tours as well as local gigs and clubs throughout the country. They brought together black and white fans and the common love of music in order to discourage young people from embracing racism. The musicians came from pop music genres, something reflected in one of their slogans, which is like reggae, soul, rock and roll, jazz, funk, and punk. And reggae music was huge there at the time because I think they were saying like in the 60s, all the British Empire was like bringing everybody from their all their colonies. They were welcoming them in, and the British were fucking not having it, like the white British people, they didn't like it. So there was this beautiful like community of artists and music that was happening. So to come together this way just seemed like such a smart idea, Yeah. So the movement was founded in part as a response to racist statements by rock musicians such as Eric Clapton and David Bowie.
David Bowie?
Bruh.
David Bowie?
But first of all, we all know Eric Clapton's a piece of shit, right?
Eric Clapton.
We know he's a piece of shit.
Listen.
I didn't realize it went back this far.
I didn't
he's
either.
out of fucking control.
Well, yeah, and he's a little cuckoo. But
he's
David
cuckoo.
Bowie?
David Bowie. Oh.
This doesn't make sense to me.
All right, we'll get it.
Does he have a day of reckoning? Does he come back?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
So according to Huddle, he said, quote, it remained just an idea about bringing all these people together until August of 1976 when Eric Clapton made a declaration of support for former conservative minister Enoch Powell, who is known for his anti-immigration Rivers of Blood speech. And he made this announcement at this concert in Birmingham. Clapton told the crowd that England, quote, had become overcrowded and that they should vote for Powell to stop Britain from becoming, quote, a black colony, end quote.
Wow, Eric Clapton. This
Bruh.
is in the 1970s?
1976.
And then somehow he still becomes popular in the 80s and people are playing him on MTV.
Can you fucking believe this? I thought the same thing. I was like, Tears in Heaven?
I can't believe
Are you fucking kidding me? Tears in motherfucking Heaven?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you, bro.
Wow.
Plus, he's anti-COVID, like vaccines.
He's a nut job.
He's a nut still. I thought that was crazy. I didn't realize that we've been working on crazy.
I thought that he was like, he's old. Sometimes people get old and they get a little cuckoo conservative in their old age. I thought it was something like that.
So he also told the audience that Britain should, quote, get the foreigners out, get the wogs out, get the coons out, end quote. And then he repeatedly shouted the National Front slogan, quote, keep Britain white, end quote.
This is Eric Clapton.
Eric motherfucking Clapton.
Eric Clapton, why did the music industry even give him a fucking album after
let's step back for a second. This is Eric Clapton who has embraced blues guitar, right? He's a great blues guitarist.
He stole everything.
That music came from slaves. It came from the black churches in the South. What the fuck? Came from Africa. Like, are you kidding me? And he's saying get the coons out? What? You made millions and millions of dollars based on that, with that music.
Yeah.
Next to BB motherfucking King?
That's disgusting.
Okay, Eric Clapton, you cunt.
Why did anybody even go on stage with him?
Yeah.
Or, associate with him?
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, well, it reminds me, maybe he apologized over and over again. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? But I know this. Like, it's another one like Robert Kennedy, right, Jr. He's saying all these crazy things, and then he gets in front of our wonderful Congress calls him for a fucking session or whatever, and he's standing there, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz reads him the fucking riot act and reads all of his quotes, and he's like, that was taken out of context. She goes, it'd be one thing if it was a one-off. But you say all these things and you're like, sorry. Then you say something with the Holocaust and you're like, sorry.
Spoiled little rich boy.
Sorry. Then he says something about Jews. Sorry. You can't keep doing it. Just claim who you are, bro. Yeah. Just claim it.
Just disappear.
Same thing with this guy.
Oh my God. Nobody cares about you.
Yeah, take your money and go get fucked.
So desperate. These desperate men.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So because of these comments, all these guys who are friends start writing to magazines, and they're like, this is crazy. And so, there's no social media. There's no TV. Not, like, you know what I mean? Like,
there's no cancel culture.
Yeah, so they would write into newspapers and say, like, with these quotes, like, how are we supporting? Like, this is not somebody who we should be supporting. So they all came together and created this group. Here's the other part. They claim that there were the thing that was the most disgusting is that he ended this whole charade of him spouting this by then, for like the first time, doing a cover of Bob Marley's "I Shot the Sheriff." At that concert. He said all these things, and then he played Bob Marley's "I Shot the Sheriff." Okay? Right?
I actually know that rendition. I heard
of course.
his version of that.
Yeah, it's famous. Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
And that's his like mea culpa, like, hey,
no,
my
that
olive branch, or he's just like, whatever, I'm stealing.
Like, no,
I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
And he has no fucking brain cells to make a connection.
No.
Nice.
No, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's a giant fuck you. I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want.
Wow.
We gotta, this is when cancel culture really should have come into play, because a lot of these rock stars were fucking 13-year-olds. I mean, hello. Steven Tyler. So at this time, other well-known rock musicians also made inflammatory statements, including David Bowie, who expressed support for fascism and admiration for Adolf Hitler in interviews with Playboy, NME, and a Swedish publication.
What?
Bowie was quoted as saying, quote, "I think Britain could benefit from a fascist leader. After all, fascism is really nationalism, and I believe very strongly in fascism. People have always responded with greater efficiency under a regimental leadership," end quote. He was also quoted as saying, quote, "Adolf Hitler was one of the first rock stars," and, quote, "You've got to have an extreme right front come up and sweep everything off its feet and tidy everything up," end quote. Bowie later expressed regret and shame for these statements, blaming them on a combination of an obsession with occultism and Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh, Nietzsche, yeah.
As well as his excessive drug use at the time. He said, quote, "I've made my 2 or 3 glib theatrical observations on English society, and the only thing I can now counter with it is to state that I am not a fascist," end quote. By the 1980s, Bowie's public statements and imagery in his art had shifted towards anti-racism and anti-fascism. In an interview with MTV anchor Mark Goodman in 1983, Bowie aggressively criticized the channel for not providing enough coverage of black musicians.
I mean, I'm glad he turned it around.
Yeah.
But those are some outrageous statements.
Also
outrageous statements.
Also in the movie, one of the guys who started all of this was like, he's like, "I was a huge Rod Stewart fan, like obsessed. I had all his albums." And then Rod Stewart made a statement also that was like, "We need to keep Britain the way Britain is and not let people come and live in our home. They can't live in our country." And then he says, "Did you know, right, when he put this statement out, he had just moved to Los Angeles? Stupid bitch." It was like, "Stupid cunt" or something. And it was so fucking funny. He's like, he said, "I had to get rid of all my albums. It's a shame. I really love that music." Oh my God. It was so fucking funny.
Makes it better with an English accent.
It does.
Rod Stewart too.
Yeah,
so
Rod
they all
Stewart.
suck. They all suck.
Yeah.
Great.
Who also went on to fame in the 80s after all this.
Oh my God.
I know. Okay. So the first Rock Against Racism gig took place at the Princess Alice pub in Forest Gate in London's East End in November 1976. Carol Grimes and Matumbi were the main acts. They would have black and white artists, and then they'd gig, they'd jam at the end. So at the end of the gig, the bands took part in a jam, something that was what was to become a signature of their gigs at the time, when it was still rare for black and white musicians to perform together. In the same year, they launched its revolutionary fanzine called Temporary Hoarding, and it went on to produce 15 issues over the next 5 years. Incredible.
I would love to have one of those.
I mean, they kept showing them in the movie.
Wouldn't that be awesome to find like that?
They were showing them in the movie, and they were like incredible articles, writing about all kinds of things that people weren't even talking about. It was amazing. So by 1977, local groups were springing up all over the country, including Leeds, Birmingham, Manchester, Hull, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Belfast, Sheffield, Cardiff, Swansea, Bristol, and across London. Eventually, there were more than 200 located throughout the UK and across the globe. Several Rock Against Racism groups started in the United States.
I love that.
From New York to Chicago. They were also in Ireland, France, Belgium, Sweden, the Netherlands, Germany, Norway, Denmark, South Africa, and Australia. With support from the movement growing, in 1978, they organized 2 national carnivals in London in conjunction with the Anti-Nazi League to counteract the rising number of racist attacks in the UK.
Oh my God.
It's incredible. And the movie is so good because it ends with this big carnival that they have. And carnival is just like, they're all walking and marching to the park where the show is, and they all arrive together. It's just, and they have their flags. I don't know. It's just so fucking good. And it's like punk rockers, and it's black people and young kids and families, and I don't know. I fucking loved it.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So on April 30th, 1978, 100,000 people marched 6 miles from Trafalgar Square to the East End of London, which was a National Front hotspot, for an open-air concert at Victoria Park in Hackney. The concert featured The Clash, Steel Pulse, Tom Robinson Band.
Pulse. I love
so
Steel
good.
Pulse.
Yeah. Tom Robinson Band, X-Ray Specs, Misty and Roots, Jimmy Percy, who was from Sham 69, and Patrick Fitzgerald. The second carnival was on September 24th, and a similar number of people marched from Hyde Park, crossing the Thames River until they arrived at Brockwell Park in Brixton for a concert featuring Oswald, Elvis Costello, and Stiff Little Fingers. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, good for them.
I mean, it's incredible.
Good for them.
And I think it's also like they were young and just they were tired of watching what they were seeing because you know, it was a very class thing. So it's like you can't, these kids were being turned away from jobs. They couldn't find jobs. They were struggling. And now we're going to come in and blame black people when their working class friends are black people, right?
Yeah.
Like they all live together. And then here are these whites coming in trying to tell them something, and they just couldn't fucking stand it. I loved it. And there were skinheads in this. This was like real anti-racist skinheads.
This is wild.
They were skinhead, working class. They just had a style, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, shave their heads and look a certain way.
I love it.
It's incredible. So I also wanted to mention some American bands who also are punk bands that are anti-racist.
Yes.
So a great quote that I read in a GQ article that was called "Nazi punks fuck off: How Black Flag, Bad Brains, and more took back their scene from the white supremacists." Henry Rollins.
I was going to say Black Flag.
Henry Rollins of Black Flag said this. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I think that you'll appreciate it.
You ever see Henry Rollins?
No.
Oh.
I
saw him do his poetry. Remember?
Oh my
God!
yes.
Him do his poetry.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. Tina's a bit of a critic. So this is a great quote. Quote, "In the Black Flag days, we had skinhead problems in the lower half of America. Florida especially.
Oh my God!
One night in 1986, they mugged our sound man, kicked his head, and cut the lines to our PA. The cops came, shut the show down, and told us we were the problem. And we had an hour. We had an hour to get out of their county line, to get on the other side of the county line. The skinheads were standing behind them, flipping us off." End quote. Of course, because
Florida.
And also
because
the cops,
Florida, that's it.
And the cops were part of the National Front music movement in the UK. They were right by those guys protecting all the National Front movement. And here they are protecting skinheads in Florida.
Nice.
You make the connection.
Nice.
And also, of course, we have the Dead Kennedys from San Francisco, who released the amazing song Nazi Punks Fuck Off in November 1981. And the single included a free armband with a crossed out swastika on it.
Yes! This is the stuff like that I would love to find in like a thrift store somewhere, like just some, you know, wouldn't that be like the best find?
I mean, it's probably on eBay maybe.
Probably.
So the inspiration, okay, so that design was later adopted as a symbol for the anti-racist punk movement called Anti-Racist Action. And also, I have a shirt that is from Anti-Hate Adventure Boys. And it's got a picture of the dead Kennedys, and it's the Nazi punks fuck off shirt, so I fucking love that shirt. There's a super amazing LA teen punk band. They're all girls. They're called the Linda Lindas. They put out a song in 2021 called Racist Sexist Boy. And 3 of the members of the group are of Asian descent. And the singer talks about her experience on the playground where, as like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, where a white boy came up to her and said, "My dad said I can't play with Chinese people." And she was like, "Well, I'm Chinese." And then he like walked away from her, and then she wrote the song. It's such a good song. I'm going to link all of this shit to the story. So also there's a fantastic Pitchfork article called the anti-fascist punk songs from around the world, and it's 9 bands. It's incredible. There's a song from Sweden, I think, and it's male like punk rock bands singing about abortion and how it should be legal.
Wow,
like, fucking crazy. You've got songs from South Africa, the Netherlands. It's like the way that this message was spreading, and how, of course, musicians translate that. It's just so fucking good. But like, that's what music's always been about. It's about a message. Usually, it's about making you feel something, making you want to fight for something, making you love something. You know, like sad. It's just such a good. And it's great for inspiration, you know? Anyway, that's my story.
I love it.
Do you?
Well, circling back to what you talked about earlier, like what does activism do? Like this is something that...
Are you mad at me for saying that?
No.
Okay.
No. It's true because we don't see it. But then sometimes there's movements like this where you see something happen.
For sure.
And I think that what's happening now is we don't have that.
Right.
We don't have that. We don't have... I don't think we have... I mean, there is like the whole like Gen X kids that are doing all the stuff.
Of course, yeah.
Or the Gen Z... Gen Z.
That's us.
Gen X is us.
Hey.
But the Gen Z kids that are, you know, but I want to see a revolution of the youth.
I don't see how else with anything's going to change, everybody.
Otherwise, like, you're right. Like, the old people, the middle-aged people, they're working. They're tired. They're, you know, and it's a shame to have to put it on the backs of the youth. But until the youth, like, start fighting back, like, and in movements and protests, like, that's what we need to see.
Yeah,
that's what we need to see.
And in the voting booth. And in the voting booth.
But I will go march along with whatever they want to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've
but
got my support.
What a great story.
Yeah, and we saw that in the last election, right? We saw the youth come out. We saw the youth turn out. We saw it flip seats. We saw it do a lot of across the country. So it's really, really important that
we keep it up. We got to keep
it up because I mean, they just announced that Trump's trial will be in May of 24, so that's before the election. So that's good, because they were trying to fight to get it pushed, you know, to after the election.
Can you imagine that?
Because he thinks he's a target of some bullshit.
Oh my God.
Also, he got a letter that he's a person of, like, interest for this January 6th or something. Like, he's involved in that. I was going to call for that.
Oh my
God. He's in trouble.
He also kind of threatened another insurrection.
Oh, God.
With, like, you know, how, like, people aren't going to like this, you know, coming after him. Nobody cares about you anymore.
No.
There's a small group that are just loud. But the rest of the country, they don't care about you.
No, you've spawned someone even worse.
I'm sick of these people.
You've spawned someone even worse.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I just want to get back. To, I don't even know what I want to get back to. I want to move forward to something where it's just like that we can exist safely in the world. I saw that 19-year-old go into jail. That 19-year-old Nebraska girl going to jail.
Else. I know.
And her mother, potentially 5 years.
It's crazy.
And I know that there's other details with that case, right? With what they did afterwards, after she aborted. And I get that. But you're in a state where you're pushing a child to have a baby that she doesn't want. And the other thing that's cuckoo is that you can cross state lines and it would have been perfectly legal, right? If she would have been in a different state. Like, that's what's bonkers to me. That you're going to put this kid in jail. Was it 90 days?
90 days.
90 days.
15.
She's got to go sit in jail. She got to sit
I gotta
in
say,
jail.
it's awful, terrible. It should never happen. I would, if I was the mother, I would do it all over again.
You know, she's gonna.
I would do it all.
They're gonna put that
again.
mother in jail for 5 years potentially.
I listen.
It's her daughter.
It's her fucking daughter. You don't think I'd be doing shit like that? Fuck you. Here's the other thing about Texas, because I think that was in Texas.
It was Nebraska.
Nebraska, okay.
It was Nebraska. And she was 17, and now she's 19.
Here's some like fucked up stats about what's happening in Texas with all their abortion bans. 6 weeks, which is what we have. Well, with right
it's
now,
a zero ban because we talk about it all
It's
the
a
time. You
total
don't
ban.
even know that you're pregnant. And then if you have any issue with the development, that's well after 6 weeks. I don't get it.
Here, listen to this. Some 2,200 infants died in Texas in 2022, an increase of 227 deaths or 11.5% over the previous year. 227 more babies.
Oh my God.
Infant deaths caused by severe genetic and birth defects rose by 21.6%. That spike reversed a nearly decade-long decline. Between 2014 and 2021, infant deaths had fallen by nearly 15%. And let's not forget that this isn't just an infant who comes out and like dies. This is a mother who's carried the baby. The mother is also suffering. Yeah. The father, whoever's involved, everybody's suffering by watching their child die because they don't have lungs or they don't have a heart or they don't have half a brain. They have something. Do you understand?
Who does that? What kind of
That's
people?
what you're doing. You're actually these deaths are on your hands. Your whole point was to take away
save the baby.
Baby murder. Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
What this woman had to do to give birth. That's not going to the grocery store.
And we've again, I feel like I'm always like we've said it before on the podcast.
But Tina,
but women's bodies.
Yeah.
You're not the same after you have a baby.
But here's the other part. You know you're going to have a baby who's going to die within minutes.
Why would anyone put someone through that?
Why?
And they got to walk every day.
Yeah.
They have to walk around
and
every day.
And there's people who have I don't know if they call it an abortion if they know the baby has a defect. Is it called a DNC? What is that called?
There is DNCs. I don't know what it's called, but I know you can have a DNC like after an abortion. You know, like it just depends on because there can be complications and there can be different things. But that is a woman's choice.
Yeah, but knowing you have traumatized all of these people. This is lifelong trauma that you are inflicting on human beings because you have some fucking religious bullshit.
Right. And these are women walking around where people are like, oh my God, congratulations, boy or girl, and this. And she knows that her baby's going to die.
Let me tell you something. I would be telling everybody, oh, I don't want this baby. My baby's going to die within 5 minutes of having him, but I'm being forced to carry it.
Yeah. My God.
Go call your congressman because
my God.
It's a horror show.
Psychological torture.
227 women had to give birth and watch their babies die.
My God.
This isn't, remember when this first happened and you'd hear one story and you hear two stories? No, this is in mass now. In 1 year, 11% increase in 1 year.
And what do? We can't do anything, right? Gerrymandering. There's all this stuff that prevents us from, there's a minority in this country that are holding the reins and we can't do anything about it because they've screwed us all over. They have the courts. They have the highest court.
Oh,
they have the maps.
The judiciary.
They have everything.
And the Judiciary Committee in Congress just voted that they're going to put some, for the first time ever, put like a check system for the Supreme Court. For the first time ever.
We'll see.
Where they have, like you know,
let's
they
see
have
how
to,
that goes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold my breath over here to see what Clarence will have the court gone. Please. All right, well, another podcast.
I wrote down 0 titles.
Oh, that's our title. 0 titles.
0 titles. I'm beside myself.
It's too much. It's tue much.
What's one thing that's made you happy?
When?
This week. Did you have anything that made you happy? I mean, I'm just trying to end on a good note.
One thing that made me happy.
You know what?
I've had a rough week.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, Tina, we're fucking struggling, but this is a struggle bus over here. Struggle bus.
Oh my God. This week was better than last week though. So I'm thankful for that.
That's good.
Yeah, one thing that made me happy, going thrifting with my son. My
Nice.
oldest loves to go thrifting, and so my cousin and my oldest, we went to a few thrift stores. He likes to find these old vintage soccer jerseys.
Yeah, I saw some at Goodwill over there on Oakland Park.
And he found one of a team that he liked.
Nice.
And he, was super excited. But we bring it home and then he's like, well, let me look it up online. And it's like selling, like people who are selling these old jerseys online, like eBay or whatever, is selling for like $70-$80.
Nice.
Yeah. But he's got a little collection going. Nice. That's like kind of his thing. So that was fun.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We did have a really good thing on Sunday night.
Oh, we did.
Oh, Emma had us over for Sunday night dinner, and we brought our kids. And it was so fun. First of all, because my daughter was sitting there with all the adults listening to the juice. She got to hear all the gossip. And on the way home, she's telling me about, talking about all of it. It was funny. But then our sons... Our two youngest found a very weird drinking game, and they were laughing and making each other laugh, like, with these cards, reading the cards. Oh my God.
I had so much fun.
But my son was entertaining, as usual.
Yes.
I was happy because,
I don't... them laughing the other way.
And I don't really bring them to hang out with everybody all the time. I usually hang out when I don't have the kids. Yeah. So it was interesting to see them with everybody, but they had such a good time.
They did. Yeah, my kids are like, when can we do this again?
Yeah. Like, the food was good, as usual, of course. Oh my God.
The food is always amazing.
And I've been watching cult documentaries with my daughter.
Oh,
she
fun.
fucking loves them. And like now, after watching I think 2 in a row, like 2 full sets, she's like, here's all the ways that this is, something's a cult. Like they tell you how to dress, they tell you how to speak, how to do this, always someone at the top always ends up being a creep. Like it's always the same thing.
My God. So I'm watching Breaking Bad.
Oh my God.
With my oldest.
Have you never watched it?
I think I got to like the maybe 2nd season. One of the kids was born. And I didn't DVR anything then. I'm like, we're going to record something, and then I'm someone, if I miss a few episodes, I'm like, I'm out.
Really?
I can't. I got to know everything that happened.
Oh my God!
I can't, and so I just threw it by the wayside. And my oldest has been like, please. I was like, all right. Well, so now that's what we do at night. We stay up late and we watch a few episodes. And we're now, I think we're like midway season 2. So, but that's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's fun hanging out with them.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, is that a good note to end on?
Yes.
All right.
Bye.